Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's Agent Secrets webinar. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Christy. I'm going to be taking you through the presentation, and today we are going to be talking about re-engagement strategies that all of you can implement and use today to get more referrals from your database. In this business, no matter what business you're in, but especially in the real estate business, referrals are so important. Let me know in the chat if referrals are one of your top pillars for generating business. We often talk about generating leads online and running campaigns and different ways to attract new traffic and new prospects into your funnel. But as you know, none of those leads compare to an actual referral or repeat business. So we're going to talk about how to get your CRM properly set up so that you can launch re-engagement plans and prepare content and have a real system to approach this task of getting more referrals from your database. Now, to start, I am going to share a couple of channels that I would like you to check out. We've been really pushing out a lot of content over the last 6 weeks. Well, for many years we have, but we've really, I think, been upping our game when it comes to content. So I'm going to ask Rob to share in the chat the links to the following channels. One would be our blog. So you can go into our Agent Secrets blog on Success website, and you can actually access all of our video presentations, articles. There's some short videos, there's some long videos there, and that's a great resource for you. You can also check out our YouTube channel. We've got lots of YouTube content that you can also go in if you subscribe to our channel. That would be awesome. If you like any of those videos, liking and sharing is extremely appreciated as well. And then we have our Instagram channel as well, where we often post quick tips and helpful hints, things that you can use to, again, improve your marketing strategy, improve your business. So please check those out, and hopefully you will enjoy the content that we are putting out there. And if you are new to our webinar, thank you so much for joining. We do these every 2 weeks, the Agent Secrets. And what I also like to emphasize is that we're very well aware of the problems that you face as a real estate professional. There's a lot of competition now more than ever. It's hard to generate high quality leads, so you can spend a lot of money doing things that don't really work as effectively as you would like. And there's always changes in the technology, changes in the platforms. Like that is, I think, the one thing that you can really count on is that things are going to change. So we like to address all of these problems in our presentation and help you navigate through them so that not only are you prepared, but you can thrive in these situations where you have intense competition, where you are trying to deal with all the changes in technology. So I like to look at a CRM almost like, well, I guess almost like a harvest or a crop, if you can think of it that way. So harvesting your success, cultivating your database like a field of opportunity. So your contacts and your prospects are going to fall into one of 3 categories. First is the most lucrative, of course, now and past business. So these are clients, past clients who already know and like you. We also call this your sphere of influence. Now, this middle section is probably going to be where most of your prospects and leads fall as far as the numbers go. And that's the future business. These are the people who are in that nurture stage. these people may be aware of you, of who you are, but they're just not ready to work with you yet, right? They've hit that awareness stage, but they haven't yet gotten to that consideration stage. And that's where we need to do most of the work, is in that middle section. And then no business, right? This is that barren land where we don't expect anything to really come out of it. And there will be some contacts in your database that fit that description. Either they're unresponsive, uninterested, bad phone numbers, bad emails, or just plain rude. You just don't want to deal with them. Maybe you delete them, maybe you don't, maybe you leave them in there as part of your remarketing list. Either way, they don't really represent a huge opportunity, but that's okay. We know that there's going to be some of those in our database, and that's fine. But what we really want to focus on today is the now and the past business opportunities and future business opportunities as well. So these are the two that we really want to nurture and cultivate. So what is your re-engagement strategy for more referrals? You should always have a strategy. Number one, we're going to show you how to segment your contacts in your CRM. I don't see agents doing this enough, and it's so important. Make sure that each and every contact in your CRM has the proper label, the proper status, the proper tag. That's the only way you're going to be able to segment them and target that specific group down the road. Number two, find the best ways to reconnect with your past clients. There's a variety of ways to do it. You've got email, you've got text message, you've got ringless voicemail. There's there's video that we can incorporate into those communication channels as well. I recommend using a combination of all of those things. Number three, how can we use AI and automation to personalize your outreach? AI is there for you to add more efficiency to your process. So how can we use that to get to more people, but in a very personal way? We don't want to lose that personalization. Okay, that's what I'm saying. We want to use AI, we want to use automation, we want to keep that personalization, because that's what really gets you the referrals. A lot of your referrals are going to contact you because they enjoyed working with you. They enjoyed that personal touch. They like you, right? So we don't want to lose that, but we also want to be as efficient as we possibly can. And then number four is to build a strong referral network through consistent engagement. Consistency is really important here as well. Harvesting for success in your CRM. So when you are looking at the software that you're using as your CRM, there's so many out there that you can be using. The important questions to ask are, does your CRM have contact categories? Okay, can you categorize your leads or categorize your contacts to either be active clients, past clients, things like that? Does your CRM have tags that you can create and then connect to your contacts? So you can even create smaller segments based on maybe specific groups or specific neighborhoods or even subdivisions, a sphere of influence, right? So that's important. Does your CRM allow for segmentation where you can combine things like status, tags, maybe the date, things like that to create a very specific segment? Do you have email and SMS templates, ringless voicemail templates that you can use? Monthly newsletters. Does your platform, your website, and your CRM also include a newsletter that is generated for you that you can personalize and share with your best prospects? Action plans. That's where you can create a very specific communication plan, and then AI follow-up. Now, the Success Engage and StayInContact system have all of these things, of course, and some of the screens that I'm going to show today are from Engage and they're from StayInContact, because that's the CRM that we have here at Success. So that's what we're going to be showing. but you want to, if you're not using Engage or if you're not using Stay in Contact, just make sure that you have the flexibility within your own CRM to do some of these things. Now, this screen that we're looking at here is essentially from Engage. These are the categories or the status categories that you can pick when you are in one of your leads. So the area that I've got highlighted here would be the categories or the statuses that would fit your re-engagement segment. So active clients, contract signed, closed, post-closed, buyer client, seller client, sphere of influence. So when you are in the Engage CRM, you'll see on the left, there is that status drop down, and all of those categories are in there. So it's really important to make sure that anyone who you've worked with, who is a past client or an active client, their status should be updated to fit those things. So that is first, that is step number one, because without that, we aren't really going to be able to identify the groups that we want to when we're ready to reconnect. Now, what are the best ways to reconnect with past clients? Like there's definitely a few here. There's many more. We don't really have the luxury or the time to get into each and every way that you can reconnect with past clients, but we're going to focus on these three here. So personalized follow-up. I'm going to be using that term a lot, personalized and personal messaging, but personalized follow-up, reach out with a thoughtful message tailored to their specific needs or preferences. You can mention past interactions or relevant milestones. Offer value and assistance. That's where you can send them relevant articles, guides, market insights that they would find valuable based on their past interactions or interests. And then automated but personalized touch points. So tools like Success Engage can help you send periodic personalized updates, check-ins, and offers at the right moments. And that's based on the data that we have. So we can set up automated emails, messages for special occasions like birthdays, anniversaries, and we have some brand new action plan settings in Engage now that will allow you to send these messages out automatically. So I'll show you in a couple of slides how you can update your leads to include a birthday or an anniversary, and then assign an action plan to those dates so that people get those messages from you automatically. So the first step would be the personalized follow-up, thoughtful SMS text templates tailored to let the prospect know that you're thinking of them. Now, in your CRM or in Engage, we have the SMS template manager where you can create these text templates, and you can use them for a whole variety of purposes. But the key is to make it sound like you've been thinking about them and you're reaching out to see how they're doing. I like this message here on the right where it says, I came across your name. I feel horrible because I know we haven't spoken in a while. Have you been successful in buying a home yet? So you can create all of these little templates, and they can be personalized with the prospect's name, with your name, and they can fit all sorts of scenarios. So whether it be they just moved into their home, they've moved out of the area, maybe it's a holiday and you want to wish them a happy holiday. So don't be afraid to create these templates, because you're going to find that once you have them in your template manager, it's going to be really easy to plug them into different plans and send them out to different segments when it's appropriate. It also allows you to send things out en masse, right? Which can save you a lot of time as well. Thoughtful email templates. So an email is also a great way to reach out, and same rules apply. You're going to want to make sure they're personalized with their name, and and also have some note in there that maybe is offering a link to a special report or to your recent blog post. Maybe you have a video that you want to insert into that email template that will link over to a landing page that has a video. So the email templates can be a little bit more involved because an email obviously can contain a lot more content than a text message, but the same rule applies. Make sure it's personalized. Let the prospect know that you are thinking about them. And then here's one of my favorites, and that's the voice messages. And these are also things that you can record in Engage. And we can't personalize it in a way where the name is going to be inserted automatically into the message. That doesn't exist yet, but it's your voice, right? So you can record a message that is specific to maybe an event that's happening or a holiday. This example on the right is specific to Thanksgiving. Here in Canada, we have the Thanksgiving weekend coming up. So this would be a good opportunity, right? To send out a message to your sphere of influence and wish them a happy holiday. So that is also a really great way to re-engage with your best prospects, because I do find that the voice, it does express a lot more than just an email or a text message. Now, offers of value and assistance is always welcome, of course. So relevant articles, guides, market insights. With our Success platform, we do have a monthly newsletter that we create every month for you. And it's something that you can be sending out to your prospects automatically every month. And you know, it's got some pretty generic information in there, but you can customize the page, and you can obviously have your own newsletter if you wanted to. You know, you could send people to a blog, or if you've got a landing page or helpful articles. You know, this kind of gets back into the content piece, which we went into more in depth, and you can find out more on our blog. We've got lots of articles about creating content and things like that on your website. You can also share new listings or recent solds. These are all great reasons to reach out to your database and stay in front of them. You know, stay in front of those leads by providing this information that they may find helpful or valuable. The important thing is we don't want to be too salesy in our messaging, right? If you just come right out and say, hey, do you know anyone who's looking to buy or sell? You know, I'm available. That's probably not the type of message that you really want to be sending out en masse or at all, right? You know, people are going to refer others to you because they like what you do, they like who you are, they think that you do offer value and you are helpful and offer assistance. So the more that you can demonstrate that to your database, the more likely they are to refer you to their friends and family and people who they think could use your service. So keep that in mind. Messaging should really be offering value and assistance as well. So the new things that we have in the CRM here are the automated emails and messaging for special occasions like birthdays, home purchase anniversaries, things of that nature. Okay, so within Engage, we have the ability, if you look on the right here of my screen, you will see that there are some dates that you can add to the lead record. You can add a birthday and you can add an anniversary. This would be the anniversary of their move, whether it be purchasing or selling. So you basically add the date into the lead, and then in the action plan settings, okay, so if you go into settings or you go into your CRM dropdown, you will see that there are action plan settings that you can go into now to specify what you want to go out. on those specific days. So we can essentially assign an action plan to go out to the prospect when it's their birthday or when it's the anniversary of their home purchase. Now, an action plan can be as simple as just an email, but it can also be as complex as an email, text message, and a ringless voicemail. So if you wanted to send out a very personalized stack of messages on somebody's birthday, you could have that in your action plan. But here's an example of an action plan that we have already added to our library for birthdays, for anniversaries. So if you go into your action plan library, you will see these new plans are there. And they are emails wishing happy birthday or happy anniversary. So those are already there. You don't have to create anything. But if you wanted to add more to it, you can as well. So honestly, just like everything in business, you know, the more effort you put into it, sometimes the better results you get from it. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be efficient. I absolutely believe that you should, and I wouldn't want you to hold off on doing these things because you're trying to create the perfect action plan. That's not going to help you. You know, it's important to get these things out, but it is also nice. It's going to stand out more if you have another type of communication going out as part of this. So those are brand new, okay, just released. You'll find it in your Engage CRM dropdown. You'll see action plan settings there. In each lead record, you do have a spot where you can add birthday, anniversary, and then have these plans go out automatically on those days. If you need a little bit of help setting those things up, I strongly encourage you to reach out to our success team. We can walk you through it to make sure that you know exactly how to get those things set up. Now, AI Smart Reply and AI Suggest. So the StayInContact app that works in tandem with Engage has some really great tools that you can use for enhancing your communication. One of the big issues that we have, I think, these days is managing our conversations. So just like everything else, of course, AI is here to take over those conversations and make sure that they are continuing. So our AI lead qualifier is, just to explain what it does, when a new lead comes in, the AI lead qualifier will automatically respond to your lead. And then when your lead responds to the AI, it will continue on that conversation. So this, I think, is a great way to start the relationship, I guess you could call it, with your leads. I've heard many industry experts say or stress the importance of following up as quickly as possible. And especially with texting, people are expecting an immediate response. So if you get a lead and it takes you days to respond, that's not going to cut it. Now, we do have automation that can kick in and send out messages. But then the challenge is when somebody replies, it may be taking you too long to respond, right? So all of a sudden, now you've got to manage all these incoming text messages and make sure you get to them in a timely fashion. So AI can really help with that. It's going to carry on that conversation for you. And we've done a lot of testing here at Success. I myself have had many interactions with our AI assistant and have really sort of put it to the test with different questions and asking different things. And it really has been very solid, very consistent in the tone, always being polite. The objective of getting more information, right? So it does continue to ask questions about what the person's looking for, always, of course, with the goal of providing better information to the prospect. And then the conversation can go on. So this is another recent improvement that we've made to the AI. Typically, what would have happened when we first launched our AI lead qualifier is there would have been an exchange, and then after about 5 exchanges, the AI would say, okay, thank you for the information. I'm going to pass this on to the agent. And that's fine. But there were times when somebody would come back and ask another question, and it could potentially go on. So now we have made the adjustment where it doesn't necessarily stop after the 5 text messages. It's a continuous conversation. And all it means is that you're going to have more information. Okay, you're going to have more data, more content, more answers, that are going to be available to you. So it could potentially get to the point where you've got an AI that is essentially getting you to that, to that confirmation of, yes, I'm ready for a call, have the agent call me, thank you for helping me through this, or this is exactly what I'm looking for. So that is where we're at right now. As far as where it's going, I think we're going to have the ability to have very specific AI conversations based on the type of communication you want. So in the case of trying to get more referrals or using AI as a way to re-engage, it's going to remind you that this person, right, is an important contact, and it's time to follow up with them, right? They are due for a follow-up call or a follow-up text, and then will remind you to initiate that conversation, and the AI will be able to initiate that for you and say, hey, I was just thinking about you, wondering how things are going in the new home. Hope you're settling in okay. And then when the person replies back, the AI will be able to continue that conversation, and you'll get alerted, right, that conversation's happening, and you'll be able to pick up on it and take advantage of that opportunity. So this is where it's all going, and I think it's just really important to just be aware of it, but really start to use it. Like, these tools are all available for you to use, and we're certainly developing more and working on more and finding different ways to use it as well. So that is essentially going to be a big part, I think, of your re-engagement strategy, is using AI as a way to start a conversation, but also continue on with that conversation as well. So just like everything, I mean, we're always taking a strategic approach to this, targeting and attracting. Of course, new leads are important, but you have gold in your database already. It's really important to make sure that you are proactively identifying who those people are, and then, of course, using all the tools you have available to re-engage with those people, send out those messages, and hopefully generate more referrals from that communication. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see what we've got in the chat here, and then we can certainly take a closer look at the CRM if anyone is interested in that. So this has been a slideshow, but we can certainly get into the CRM if people want more of a walkthrough on that. So I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to put in any questions or requests that you have for that. And if you don't have any questions or requests, then that's fine. You know, we can end it early. I'm happy to do that as well. Thanks, Rob, for sharing those links to the blog, to the to our Instagram, and also to our YouTube channel. Looks like we do have a request to get into the CRM, so let me do that. And of course, you all know how to log in, right? So I'm going to start by going to Success Web Care. This is where you can log into your command center. And I'm just going to click on this link here to get in. I'm going to log into one of our demo accounts here. And also in the chat, let me know if there's anything specific that you would like me to take a look at. But I will show you, I'll give you a proper tour of some of the new areas that you may not have had a chance to see because they are new. All right, so here we are in the dashboard, and the section that I'm going to take a look at is here in the CRM. So if you go to your Engage CRM dropdown, and let's start with the leads, and I'll show you where you can go ahead and add things like the birthday and the anniversary date. Okay, so here we are. If we go into our side panel here, you'll see this little drop down for add. So under that, we've got birthday and anniversary. So if I pick birthday and then I put in a day, and then if I wanted to add anniversary, same goes, right? So those are there. So you'll want to make sure that those are all up to date. And as far as the status is concerned, you know, I did emphasize the importance of making sure the status of your leads are up to date. That would be up here. So all of your leads, when they get added to the CRM, are going to show up as an active lead. If you are, you know, if this person is an active client, you should change them to active client. If they're a post-closed client, you can go ahead and hit post-closed. And if they're a sphere of influence type contact, then you can update that as well. Like who would be in that sphere of influence? I suppose it could be past clients that you've worked with. It could be vendors that you work with. It could be people, partners, you know, people in your sphere that you would expect to refer people to you, or that you would refer people to, right? So these are essentially people in your network. So that's where you would update the status here in this section. So once you are confident that you've updated this lead, and you could even add notes if you want to add more context, right? If you want to add maybe like the scenario of how you know this person, where you met them, things like that, you can definitely include that in your notes. But as far as being able to create segments, having the status updated is really, really important. So this other section that's new is under the Engage CRM. I'm going to go into the action plan settings. And this is where we can tell the system when it's somebody's birthday, we want the birthday plan to go out. When it's somebody's anniversary, we want the anniversary. So you'll see that there's drop down here. Now, when you're creating the action plan, as I said, we have action plans already in here for this, but it has to have the word anniversary or birthday in the title. Otherwise, it's not going to show up in this drop down. So that's something to be aware of. And then we also have this section for returning leads, action plans. So this is where you can decide or tell the system to assign an action plan when leads are returning, and that could be for viewing property, that could be for like coming back and requesting more information. I think that the listings is probably going to be where you see a lot of potential here. So if somebody comes back because they're looking at listings, which people should be doing in your CRM, you can have a plan go out, right? You can have a re-engagement plan for property updates go out, and that's going to automatically engage with the prospect. You could have an AI plan that goes out for qualifying leads when somebody comes in as a returning lead. So it's just another way to use your CRM as a communication tool where things are happening automatically based on the lead's actions and their situation or what content they're looking at. So again, that's under the Engage CRM here under Action Plan Settings. You'll also find this under Settings, I think, or maybe not. I guess it was not added there. Never mind, forget that. It's definitely under the Engage CRM, though, Action Plan Settings right here. And then as far as the action plans are concerned, you can find them here under the Action Plans Manager. I have definitely created specific plans for re-engagement and also specific plans for listings, although I don't see that here. But these are the plans that I've created. Oh, here we go, coming soon listing, right? So you can have a plan that is letting somebody know that there's a listing that's going to be coming on the market. And that could include a ringless voicemail, it can include a text, it can include an email. All of those things, right, can be part of that plan. But what I would really encourage you to do is take a look at the action plan library, because that's where you can see everything that exists already in the action plan library. So special gift for the holidays, like this one is something that you would use around probably, I mean, you could use it around Thanksgiving, you could use it around Christmas time or whatever the holiday is that you are celebrating. But this one is, I think, could be pretty powerful because you're letting people know that you believe giving back is a very important thing to do. So if you have a charity that you want to promote or you want to encourage people to support, then you could use something like this. I think this was created around the time of COVID when it was really sort of in full swing. So of course, maybe not something you want to mention in the email. You could certainly edit that, but it's just another spin on how you can be re-engaging with your database for different purposes, right? Yeah, so there's a couple questions in here that I'm going to get into. One is from Ellen. Hello, Ellen. Are you including SEO in your standard package? Well, SEO is definitely always included in our packages because it all has to do with content. Search engines like content, right? If you look at a search engine as being just a big, massive library, it's all about categorizing content, creating content, so it's easy for search engines to find. A couple weeks ago, we did a specific presentation on this. Maybe Rob can share in the chat a link to that post and video, because we went really deep into SEO and how it compares to SEM, which is search engine marketing. And those two are important, right? But it's important to understand how they work. It's important to understand what time is involved and what tools you need, so on and so forth, right? So Rob can share a link to that. Ellen, I think you'd find that helpful. And then Azim, how do we promote our listings? I think listings, absolutely. And again, did a specific presentation on this. You'll find it in the blog as well. So many ways to promote your listings. Like, don't even get me started. But I'll show you very quickly the plans that we have for listings, specific plans. So if you want to promote a listing, first step get it into the website, right? To add it to your site so that we can create a landing page for it. That's step number one. So that happens up here in the listings, right? You go into your listings and then you can either manually add a listing if it's a coming soon property, or you can import from your MLS. So that's step number one. But once the listing is there, you can create an action plan around it and send that out to a segment of your database. So here in the action plan library, I'm going to take a look at one of these. We'll do the coming soon. And it all is sort of mapped out for you. But if you pick a listing to use it with, it's going to autofill photo of the listing, links to the listing, all those things that you're going to want to include in that plan will automatically be in the messaging. So that's also in the Action Plans Manager zine. So I would definitely check that out. But again, first step is to add your listings to the platform. Okay, we got another question here about adding specific labels to the leads. So there are a couple of different ways that your leads are going to be added to your CRM. Sometimes they come in automatically because they've gone to your website, they fill out a form, and they end up in your CRM. Sometimes you've got a landing page like in our presentation that we did for Leverage Your Listings, I talked about having an open house registration page, right? So for each open house, you have essentially a QR code that brings people to a form on your website where they can fill out to register for your open house. So in that case, leads would automatically be coming in to the CRM. So you have to, first of all, identify how these leads are getting in. Are they coming in through a marketing campaign, or are you adding them manually to the CRM? So an easy thing for me to demonstrate right now is to how to add a special label to a lead when you add it manually to the system. So let's say you've got somebody, right? This could be a past client or a vendor, somebody that you want to add to your database. So here in the bottom left-hand corner, we have this button for new lead. So when you click on that, it's going to pop up a form where you enter in the new lead's information. This is all pretty standard stuff, you know, first name, last name, you've got address, all that, status, right? So make sure you put in the status here. But you also have this area for a source code. So if you wanted to add, you know, past client or lawyer or title, you know, title company rep or mover, whatever you think is appropriate, you can go ahead and add that as the code. And then make sure when you're adding the leads that you check off these boxes, because this is what's going to enable the messaging to go out. This all has to do with consent and the different levels of consent that can exist. So when you have leads come in through your website, they are entering in through a form on your site. So in the case of an open house registration, they're going to your website, they're seeing a form, they also see the privacy policy, and they see the consent blurb that tells them that by filling out this form, they are agreeing to receive communication, right, through the various channels. So that automatically happens when they come through your website. But when you're adding them manually, you have to do that yourself and confirm their consent. So that is important. If you add the lead without checking off these boxes, the lead will be added to the CRM. You just may find that you're not able to text or call or email from the system, right? Which is pretty important. You want to make sure that you're able to do that. Other things that we can do, of course, exist under here within My Campaigns. So we can set up a very specific tracking URL or funnel that is going to automatically assign tags, plans, follow up to a lead when it comes in from a specific source. So if it's coming in from Facebook, coming in from Google, we know that, right? We can set it up as a campaign and tell the system what we want to happen or how we want that to look when it comes in. So in this case, we know that this particular campaign is a campaign for a cash offer, right? So that's the offer. And this is the URL. So if the lead comes in from this specific URL, it's going to automatically have a label, which is this TMS code. And it's also going to automatically launch an action plan. So that's something that we help all of our clients with when we're managing their accounts. It's one of the big advantages actually to having us manage your ads, because we can make sure that everything's connected, right? So if we're setting up Google ads for you, Facebook ads, any type of campaign, we can make sure, and you're also using Engage CRM, of course, we can make sure that everything's being tracked, the necessary follow-up is going out, and we're not dropping the ball at any part of the process here. Okay, so Ellen just had a follow-up question here, talking about leads that she's getting through another lead gen source. They haven't been on the website. Well, that depends on the lead source, I would say. Like, I know that most lead sources that are online do have disclaimers, and they do have privacy policies connected to them. So you may be okay. I know that if you were, say, generating leads through a different type of platform, we could import all of those leads if they're in a CSV file in a spreadsheet, and then we could assign consent status to all of those leads if they came from a source that does that. So I would say, Ellen, to be sure, we would have to know exactly where those leads are coming from, because if you don't have consent, sending out an email blast may not get you in too much hot water, you know, as long as you give people the option to unsubscribe. But I know that all sorts of marketing software out there, whether it be Follow Up Boss, whether it be MailChimp, any CRM type follow-up software out there has the same consent criteria, right? They just do. It's just inherently part of the platform, right? So we just want to make sure that we're not going to get you into trouble, because people can get pretty nasty when it comes to this stuff, especially if they have a legal background. I've had clients who have received letters threatening to sue because they received communication from that agent that they felt they hadn't signed up for and they hadn't given their consent for. Email tends to be a little bit less likely to get you into hot water, but text messaging, you have to be really, really careful about. People get very angry if they feel like they're getting a text when they did not agree or give their consent to get that. So that was something you got to be really, really careful with. And when it comes to blasting out text messages, I'm a big believer in, especially when it comes to these communication plans, segmenting your list, trying to be as mindful as you can about how you're communicating, who you're communicating to. This whole spray and pray methodology doesn't really work very well, to be honest. Like, which I'll just give you a little example. You know, we have our own marketing lists here at Success. We've got different lists. We've got people that we've um, been communicating with for years who are very active, and then we have some that aren't so active, old client lists, things like that. So when we send out mass communication to a large group, we typically only do email, right? We very, very rarely will do a text message to a big group, especially if these are older contacts who we haven't really been engaged with. And when we do that, our open rates tend to be around, I don't know, 25%, maybe, maybe 30%, something like that. But when we create smaller segments and we take a segment of people that maybe have been opening emails more in the last 30 days, or they're just a more active segment, our open rates are much higher. Our engagement rates are much higher. The number of unsubscribes are much lower. So we tend to get more out of those smaller segments, which is why we do that. So that's something to really think about. You want to be smart when you're marketing and when you are putting your message to market match. And sometimes, it's great to send it out to tons and tons of people, but be careful if you're doing a text. Just make sure you've got that express consent. And then the voice blast also is okay, right? But again, I would probably try to take a much more segmented, personalized approach to that as well, right? It's not to say that you can't send out a lot of messages, but just try to think about who you're sending it to and what you're saying in those messages. That's all. Anyhow, so that kind of brings us to the end of the call today. Thanks for joining me. This has been fun. And if you are in Canada, as I am, I hope you have a nice Thanksgiving weekend. And if you're in the States, if you're our neighbors south of the border, then you will be celebrating a little bit later. But I hope you also have a very wonderful weekend and hope you join us. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another topic. And of course, take a look at those links. We got our blog, YouTube, Instagram, like, follow, share. We would greatly appreciate it. After this webinar closes, you'll also be presented with a short survey. So I'd really love to hear your feedback, okay? Otherwise, have a wonderful day and we'll see you all shortly.